What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the second album by hip-hop duo Outkast. Basically, this product is called ATLiens, and it came out in the summer of 1996. So the thing about this particular product here is this is the follow-up to Southern Playalistic Cadillac music from the summer of 1994 as far as this pitch can happen. Now some of these particular Outkast albums, a number of these albums I would say Southern Playalistic, this particular album, and at least Aqua Mini were seen as albums that were 5-star albums, and nowadays Stankonia kind of gets that reputation as well as far as what's first going to happen with it. Definitely have to say pretty much Outkast is a pretty damn near clean sweep with their albums. For the most part, the only real two albums that don't typically get like a more classic type score, I would even say Andre 3000's The Love Below is pretty close within that relative range considering his relative consistent popularity within the affability of his lyricism, pitches like that. Pretty much the only album I can think of that Outkast has dropped that's not seen in a classic in some particular sense would just be like the album Idlewild as far as those pitches can happen, but I still appreciate the album, has some good gems on there. This is a pretty damn good album. Now I don't feel like it's this full bounded classic as much to that extent, but it is definitely a damn good type one within the pitch. Out of 13 songs on this particular product, I wound up recommending 11 as far as those pairs going to happen, so it's just within the tone as far as saying definitely had some excellent stuff on here. The thing about this particular record, and I'd probably say the 94 album of Outkast from what I remember behind it, a lot of this is pretty sleepy and just overall drowsy kind of Cadillac and just cruise around type music within the pitch. It hotbox the whip just in a more Southern fried type 808 type bass type fashion, so it has a lot of good kind of Cool Cat, kind of Pink Panther like kind of jazz type cuts on here within the pitch, and just like some thumpers and just pitches like that. Just a good kind of aspect of this kind of Ray-Ban type music within the pitch behind it as far as what's first going to happen. Just similar to the stuff that Pimp C and Bun B would kind of do with UGK, some of those particular type fares. Just has a good aspect there. Particularly really enjoyed some of the singles on here, particularly two of which like ATLiens and Elevators Me and You are definitely some real good sleepy kind of strip club type music within the fare behind it. It's particularly nailed the vibe of like some social step out. And the thing about this particular album is just the fact that this came out in Biggie and Tupac's lifetime, so it's just when the pitch that this was kind of before like the real climax of like the East Coast West Coast war as far as what's first gonna happen. So this is a miss like the product of like some of those type moments where the South was kind of rising on the scene, but it was just not as full bound paid attention to because Tupac was still in his prime as far as these pitch can happen. It's just when the pitch. But I look after here some good type fare to be able to get this. I look within some of those type of aspects, just kind of the tone, kind of acquired type product nowadays. It's kind of one that seems relatively seldom. I noticed within like the Greatest Hits album or the 2001 album that Outkast put out that had like the song The Whole World on there and some of those type pitches, there's really only one song from this particular album on that particular compilation album, which is like just a revamp or just a reintroduction to the stuff that they've done. That's just basically the song Elevators Me and You. They definitely have more songs than here. It's just from the pitch, but pretty much it's just a 1-2 punch to get ATLiens and then Southern Playalistic because they're the same sort of combo within the pitch behind it. It's the same sort of aspect of like I was saying, the cruise around type music, just with a more sleepy type sense. Definitely pretty smoke ready within the fare. Just some excellent type fare to have like some good content, just be able to toke up and pitches like that. Just appreciate the nightlife and just the more standard kind of sludge and sleaze as far as those pitch albums. So it's a good type tone. I would definitely say here, so I reckon there's actually 4 singles off this product, because one of which, Wheels of Steel, is like one of the singles on here. Wheels of Steel is a combo type single with the song with the title track ATLiens. So I'll talk about both these separately. So I'm going to talk as if there's 4 singles, but basically the lead single is Elevators Me and You. Elevators Me and You is like a nice crisp kind of strip club and venue after hours. I'd have to say within these senses, just some basic night ambience as far as what's supposed to happen. It's a real click clock type beat as far as this pitch can happen. Real nice one to kind of get here just in the after effect. I like the kind of overall Cool Cat type vibe with some of these type ones. This really has like that pajama-cat type feel about it within the pitch behind it as far as those fares going to happen. Just good aspect to kind of get some of that type within the fare behind it. Get some of that type within the fare behind it. Some good aspects for like the after effects and noise just within like venue and just the night sludge of it within the pitches behind it. So it's good type fare, especially for 96. This kind of crisper. It's kind of within the aspect just a little bit of like a groove type sense, just some backwood type feeling within the fare behind it. It's just different from like the concepts because, you know, Tupac was dominating 96 with like California Love, How Do You Want It, some of those type pitches, and Hit 'Em Up, some of those type songs within the fare. Dr. Dre was putting out songs with like Blackstreet, like I forget what that song is called, but like songs like No Diggity, some of those type pitches. Is just kind of off to the wayside. Way over here was Outkast as far as what's first gonna happen, just stacking up like some low-key type hits as they would get bigger later on within the decade as far as what's first gonna happen. But it's just some excellent type aspect to be able to get this here. This is very different from the popular G-Funk sound that was pretty still predominant around this particular time. So some excellent aspects there. ATLiens is the second single. And once again, this is combined with Wheels of Steel. But basically ATLiens, Title track ATLiens is like a basic backwood groove kind of night venue white noise. I'd have to say here within some of these type pitches, definitely some aspects for some of that. I'd probably say the concept of elevators, me and you, both these are like some white noise type tunes to get within the pitch behind. Just kind of some good type ones to have some aspect. Just get some drinks in your system, flirt with some bells as far as those first can happen. Just the after effects of being out and about with it. It's like some basic bump on this particular song ATLiens. Kind of a differential type aspect from like the standard nightclub type fare. A little bit more jarbled within the pitch, not as full bound like that, but just a differential type one from like the typical type fare that you'd see nowadays, like the bass thump. I mean, it has some thump on here, but this is kind of more alternative rap within a sense. It's kind of within the pitch of how that particular would sound back in 1996. But it's just some cool. Basically, this song is like some cool as a fan type feels within the pitch behind this song. This is a good song to gel to as far as this pitch comes. So it's just good aspect to be able to get some of these here. Both elevators, me and you, and ATLiens are kind of abstract type ones within the pitch behind it, but they just nail the coolness factor with them being able to do it. They just have a particular type style that just has like the appeal, despite the fact that this is not like the typical kind of conduct within most type of appeals within what was going on. You know, having like a cat like Casey and JoJo, like Tupac was doing, or like Dr. Dre was doing with the other folks that did No Diggity. Some of those type of folks, I think it's Blackstreet, like I was saying, some of those type of fairs just within the pitch. So it's just within the aspect as far as having some of these particular type vibes, just getting towards the appeal. But Snoop Dogg was putting out records, so it's just within the pitch as far as saying. But yeah, Jazzy or Wheels of Steel is the third single, and this is a nice one here. It's like a brooding kind of evening commerce, I'd have to say here. Just a typical kind of dredgy, smoky kind of evening. By smoke, I mean just the concept of having some smokers in your system. Some of those type conducts are like a makeshift type song, but just with smoke in your system, just a feeling nice type one. Just feeling stoned as far as those pitch kind of happens. So it's just the aspect of one. It's kind of a contemplative type one within the pitch, but it's just some good aspects to have like that smoke in your system as far as those first can happen. Just with like the tone and just having some step out, or just with the aspect of just like the typical kind of day push or evening push within the fair behind it, but just in the aspect as far as saying having the consistent type. I mean, there's some other ones on here. Like I would definitely say songs like Waylon are kind of like this within a relative sense. Decatur Psalm is like this as well as far as those fairs can happen. Just typical kind of evening dredge, just amongst like this particular album. When you get to the evening unwind within the pitch behind it, has a little bit more of like the wrap up of it still being a little bit tongue tied within the sense. It's not quite as much of a smooth transaction of getting past like the work shift dredge as far as those pitch can happen. Just kind of the conduct of maybe there's a little bit more to do. Maybe there's a few more tasks to wrap up. Maybe I'm not quite as done yet within those particular type pitches. So it's this kind of aspect. Wheels of Steel and at least Decatur Psalm are two ones that do that within particular. But it's just the concept of this, the relative affluence of kind of on glide mode and kind of winding down a bit, but still not entirely full bound done with the pitch. It's just the tone, but it's still a nice one. Nice contemplative one. Jazzy Bells, the fourth single. Now this is like a woozy kind of Dave Malaise kind of get here. Just a relative kind of workaday relief, I'd say, about this one. Cadillac music, definitely. I feel like just like their 94 album, some of that type of just like the mellow funk hop to kind of get here within some of those type pitch. So it's just kind of a tone, definitely the aspect. Definitely some transcendent type music here within the pitch behind. Just kind of some floaty type ones within the after effect of it. Just kind of Jazzy Bell definitely reminds me of like the Eminem album, the Slim Shady EP, as far as some of those drowsy type ones that just feel like you're either drunk as hell or really smoked out as far as those pitch can happen. So it's just good type tone for some of those type pitches. It's typical kind of vehicle buzz within some of those type of appeals behind it. Workaday relief, like I was saying, just within the fare behind it. Relative workaday relief. I mean, it's just kind of the concept, but just like the product, just like the after effect type fare, just 4:15 p.m., 6:15 p.m., some of those type pitches, just typical vehicle commerce. It's pretty vehicle centric type product, like I was saying, good type fare for some of that just commerce and just being out and about in like a more lazy type fashion. So it's just glazed kind of summer evenings, this pink, purple skies, some of those type pitches just within the tone behind it works for that. But yeah, so basically, just to note, like All Music almost gave this album like 5 stars. Rolling Stone gave this like a 4 stars out of 5, so some good pitches. RapReviews.com gave it a 10 out of 10. So a lot of this had some pretty rave type reviews within the pitch. I mean, these typically did kind of get to that particular fare. But just to say, the only 2 songs I don't recommend off this album would just be one would be E.T. Extraterrestrial, and then the other of which would be Mainstream. So talk about these real quick. Basically, Mainstream was just kind of a peppy type one in a more lazy type sense. Just didn't really nail the vibe as far as this first gonna happen. Was just kind of trying to be one more like Babylon. I feel like Babylon just nailed that particular vibe a little bit better. It's kind of the same problem with Extraterrestrial. These are just both 2 ones that just kind of had a little bit more transcendent within a sense. I like the transcendent feeling about some of these, but it's just kind of the conduct of just not nailing the particular fitting mood as far as being able to nail the vibe of something that just is a little bit more kind of elevated and just are a little bit more alive and just kind of lively within the pitch. It's smoke centric, but it's just kind of the concept of being wide awake and kind of more kind of spastic within a sense. Not necessarily spastic, but just more wide awake than the consent of like the production fair as to what kind of particularly happens with this. This basically, I Mac Miller is just like getting a sleepy kind of lively song, and it just doesn't fit as heavily compared to some of this. I mean, at least Babylon particularly nails it, but not some of these other type ones didn't do it as well. Mainstream and Extraterrestrial just nail it. So I'm gonna give this album basically me recommending 11 out of 13 on here, not counting the You May Die intro, and then Elevators, the ONP 86 mix, which is basically just a remix to Elevators. I just would say I'm gonna give this album like a 9.25 out of 10. Just from the pitch, only not recommending 2 songs. So just from the pitch here, definitely some ones like Two Dope Boys and Cadillac's the real nice ones, like a good lyrical snarl. I'd say in like a hot box to whip type fashion. I would feel like here just a Southern Wu-Tang as far as those pitches can happen. Just basically Andre 3000 and Big Boy going in with this, basically just Andre 3000 and Big Boy going in like they typically did back in the 90s as far as those pairs can have. So it's just good type fashion. This really feels like a Wu-Tang type beat, something of that particular pair just ripped out of Atlanta and pitches like that Southern hip hop as far as those pairs can have. Pretty good for 96. Millennium's a pretty good song. It's like an album standout. I would definitely feel like here just a typical Dredge. I'd have to say to Sunset Gaze, basic kind of vehicle kickback. I'd have to say here a good song to toke up to within some of those type pitch. Just a real kind of sullen type one within the after effect of it. Just like the malaise, some of these type ones kind of reminds me of like a song. I forget the name of the song. I'll probably put it in like the connotation, but it was a song that Big Boy was good at doing some of these particular type songs off of his 2003 album. There's like one that has like Cujo Goody on there. I'll probably put that in the connotation like I was saying. It was just a good pitch to have for some of that kind of this almost alternative rock kind of glazed disc factor about it. But it's just a good type pitch kind of get some of these here. Just like the malaise in this particular one. This one a little bit different from the rest of the tone. Most of these are more smoke centric kind of vehicle disc ambience, but this is a particular one that just feels like a little bit of something like No Doubt would kind of do with like Don't Speak and this pitch like that. Just that alternative rock kind of dredged in the pitch. So it's good type tone. Babylon's a nice one. This is a pretty lofty type one here. This is a better variation, like songs like Extraterrestrial, and then Mainstream. I'd have to say it's like some lofty kind of vehicle commute. I would say just good bells. Job I'd have to say about this particular song. Just out on the town kind of enjoyment within pitches like that, and more vehicle wise type stuff within the fair. But as far as those pitches kind of happen, this is just some starry fun to kind of have. So this date night, just more hanging out in a vehicle type fair within the pitch behind this typical type fashion, just out and about. Just kind of the product of this. Maybe looking at the stars pitches like that. Just kind of the product that just got done with the movie. Some of those type pitches, just the conduct of combo and just pitches like that. Snacks, McDonald's in the whip, or just pitches like that. Arby's, whatever. Just in the fair, just I'd say some good type tones. So it's like the aspect, just like some star kind of step out just in the pitch behind it. Decatur Psalm is a nice one here. It's like a dredgy kind of typical evening malaise that I'd say here, just task wrapped up, just kind of amidst the flip modes as far as those pairs would kind of happen. So yeah, like I was saying with Decatur Psalms, just kind of amidst like the relative wrap up of the workday as far as those pairs can happen. Just not quite entirely quite done within the pitch behind it, but just in the product, just having like the aspect, just having like the moments kind of mostly mopped up within some of those type fairs. So it's just an aspect. It's basically probably 4:45 p.m., 5:15, some of those initial type aspects of just figuring out the conduct of like the conduit type moments as far as what to happen within some of those type fairs is the product of it. Just kind of last moment of switching out of the mode of like coworker type bias pitches like that and having to deal with that particular pair of blue collarness. But I'd say it's a good type tone for that. Just a more typical kind of 4 p.m. type dredge. Growing Old is a nice one here. It's like a beleaguered kind of lengthy workday. Growing Old is like a beleaguered kind of lengthy workday reflected. I'd say just some lazy kind of vehicle traffic. I would feel like here pretty similar to like Decatur Psalms, some of those type ones Millennium, but just a little bit more beleaguered about it. Just a lot more sullen of one. It's kind of a good song to smoke to and settle in as far as those first can have. It's not as much of one going out for like step out with songs like ATLiens and Elevators, Me and You, but just kind of within the pitch as far as saying just a more weathered type one within the pitch and just like some settle in for the day or the night as far as those pitch can have. So it's a good type tone for that, but it's a differential aspect. I almost didn't recommend this song because the 13th floor kind of intro on this song was just kind of the pitch. I like this particular song, but it's a little bit lengthier within the fair. It's just kind of the concept that there's just more to it, so I would probably just have to edit to the part where you would particularly, I mean, you could say some folks, it's not like this particular song is not enjoyable, it's just within the pitch. I just like the particular fair of this particular song, just having it within the aspect of it being more in a song type format, but it is a good typeness to be able to get there. Wailing is a quality one. It's like a basic kind of feeling stuck kind of vehicle commotion kind of get within some of those aspects. Definitely spark up some pitches like that, some blunt raps, some pitches like that. Get some great swishers going, strawberry swishers, some of those type fairs. It's a good song to contemplate and some in between as far as those aspects can have. So it's just within the same aspect of songs like say Over the Woods is another one for some of that type fair. Two dope boys and Cadillac. Some of these type pitches are just some smoke type sessions with your pals as far as those pros kind of have them with it. Just some good aspects to be able to get to some of those type tones with it. kind of some in between type moments for like some commotion. Not quite as dredgy and just within the typical blue collar type phase, but just the product of like some homies type fair and pitches like that. Same thing with Over the Woods, like I was saying, it's like a basic kind of late day slog, kind of get here, just smoke several. I would say feeling swashed, particularly Commerce, just about that, just some hangout drive within some of those type pitches. So there's definitely some good vehicle noise within the pitch behind it, but I'd also say it also works with like the two lead singles, basically ATLiens and Elevators, me and you, as far as those fairs can happen. Just a good product like that night type fair and just some good white noise for like venue type pitches as far as those pitches kind of happen. Strip club ambience pitches like that, some of that particular noise is just getting towards it within the conduct of like Friday, Thursday type appeal within a more mellow type sense. So some good type aspects there. So yeah, like I was saying, I give this album like a 9.25 out of 10. The social score I'll probably say, because for 1996 this is actually pretty excellent within the fair. It's not a full bound, like I said, it's not a full bound kind of classic with an aspect. I mean, it is a vicious type album, definitely does some pretty good layered type looks. It has a lot of appeals within the blitziness of what it particularly kind of does, but it's just with an aspect as far as saying these singles did not chart as full bound kind of heavily. I think at least Elevators and ATLiens at least were like top 40 singles within some of those type fairs, but just from the pitch, Outkast was always kind of more alternative until like the 2000s with Stankonia, and then like the Love Below and the Big Boy album Speaker Box, some of those type pitches, just within the tone as far as saying that they had some good type moments, but they were still kind of more low key compared to Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, some of those type folks, other folks like that, Snoop Dogg, some of those type ones. So probably say the social score would probably be probably like a solid 9 out of 10 just from the pitch. I mean, it has the quality on here, has a number of night venue type bops and some hot box to whip type tunes within some of those type pitches, has some good makeshift songs on here as far as what's first going to happen, just kind of within the pitch and just questioning. I feel like folks go in for the singles. The singles are not number ones, like I was saying, it's just from the pitch. There's some good stuff on here, definitely some good moments for your pals just paying attention. If you fuck with Outkast, if you fuck with Big Boy and Andre as far as this pitch going to happen, it's kind of within the tone as far as saying this. Just it doesn't have the number ones, just kind of within the aspect of just question how many folks are going to full bound depending upon how it goes. Fuck with like the album, because as far as this first game, so solid 9. So in terms of future, like thing about it is Outkast. Everyone wants Outkast to put out another album, but they probably never will within some of those type pitches. I mean, it's just kind of the aspect as far as saying it's been 16, 17, 18, 19 years now within some of those type pitches. So it's just kind of the conduct of it. I would have to say I only have a couple more Outkast albums to review. Basically, just the '94 album, and then Andre 3000's Love Below and some of those type pitches, and then that virtually takes care of it. And then their 1998 album Aquamini. So some good type pitch, definitely a pretty good burst of energy here, pretty quality type one for like mid '90s before like the conduct of their real widespread type appeal. Definitely a pretty damn excellent kind of austere type product. Definitely has some heavy hitters on here and just a good overall low key kind of blitz type appeal, some social step out. So some good type stuff for vehicle noise and just venue noise pitches like that.